The lights of the Alamodome burn like twin suns above the ring, washing the canvas in white heat as thousands of voices collide into a single roar. Flags ripple in the stands, red, white, and blue, clashing with green, white, and red, as two fighting cultures converge beneath the Texas sky. This is not just another night of boxing. This is a proving ground. Keith "One-Time" Thurman, the unbeaten American contender with thunder in his fists and ambition in his eyes, walks with the calm of a man who believes the world is already his. Across from him stands Jesus Soto Karass, the iron-willed warrior from Mexico, scarred by wars, baptized by punishment, and hardened by the unforgiving roads of the sport. The tale of the tape whispers numbers that pretend to tell a story, but the truth lives in the eyes of these men. Thurman carries speed, angles, and explosive power shaped by years of discipline under a master trainer who taught him to fight with intelligence as well as violence. Soto Karass carries the hunger of survival, a man who has been knocked down by the sport and risen each time with blood in his mouth and defiance in his heart. The referee's final words fade into the roar of the crowd. Gloves brush in a brief gesture of respect, and the bell cracks the silence like a gunshot. In that instant, the arena tightens its grip on the night, the air thick with anticipation, every heartbeat in the building syncing with the rhythm of the fighters' steps as they move toward the center, knowing that only one of them will walk away with momentum, with belief, with the right to dream louder tomorrow. From the opening seconds, the fight erupts into a firefight, a collision of styles that feels too violent to be called a feeling-out process. Thurman circles on light feet, flicking a stiff jab that snaps Soto Karass's head back, testing the guard, measuring the range, setting traps with subtle shifts of his shoulders. Soto Karass answers with pressure, stepping through the heat, ripping hooks to the body, as if trying to carve weakness into Thurman's ribs. His punch is not always pretty, but always heavy with intent. The crowd swells with every exchange, sensing that neither man has come to wait. An overhand right from Soto Karass crashes through the space between them, awkward in form but dangerous in impact, briefly jolting Thurman and reminding him that this is no tune-up, no gentle introduction to another night at the office. Thurman answers with a slicing uppercut that cuts up the middle like a blade, then a right hand that snaps back Soto Karass's head, the American speed giving his power an extra cruelty. Body shots thud, gloves drum against flesh, and sweat sprays into the lights as the first rounds bleed into each other. The tempo never slows, and beneath the noise of the crowd, there is the quieter sound of strategy unfolding. Thurman angling out after combinations, refusing to be trapped on the ropes, while Soto Karass keeps marching forward, determined to turn the ring into a phone booth where his durability can matter more than Thurman's finesse. Blood begins to trace thin lines down faces, a tax paid to the gods of violence, and the tension thickens as each man tests the limits of the other's resolve. As the middle rounds arrive, the fight deepens into a war of attrition, each exchange chiseling away at endurance and will. Thurman's movement becomes more purposeful, lateral steps carrying him just outside danger, before he darts back in with crisp combinations, his jab a metronome, setting the rhythm of the bout. Soto Karass refuses to be discouraged, digging into the body with stubborn insistence, trying to slow the legs that keep escaping him, trying to make Thurman pay a long-term price for every moment of freedom. Then comes the moment the arena will remember, the sudden flash of violence that changes the geometry of the fight. Thurman steps just out of range, draws Soto Karass forward with a feint, and fires the uppercut he has been hunting all night. It rises from the floor like an explosion, catching Soto Karass clean and snapping his head upward as if yanked by invisible wires. The impact echoes through the building, and Soto Karass collapses to the canvas, his body folding beneath him in a moment of shocking stillness. The count feels endless, the crowd roaring in disbelief, and when he rises, his face tells the story of a man who has been dragged through fire, but refuses to stay down. Thurman stands poised, eyes sharp, not rushing recklessly, but hunting with patience, aware that wounded prey can be the most dangerous. The bell ends the round, but the energy lingers. the sense that the fight has crossed a threshold from contest to crucible, from sport into something closer to a test of spirit. In the later rounds, fatigue begins to speak in heavy breaths and slower feet, yet the will of both men refuses to bend. Thurman, blood streaking down his nose, continues to glide along the perimeter of the ring, snapping jabs, stabbing the body, and whipping hooks upstairs with the precision of a craftsman who knows exactly how much force each moment requires. Soto Karass presses forward through the punishment, his technique roughened by exhaustion, but his courage undiminished, throwing wide hooks, overhand rights, anything that might crack the rhythm of Thurman's movement. The crowd is no longer just watching. They are pleading with their voices, urging the Mexican warrior to break through, urging the American technician to finish what he started. Thurman answers the pressure with counters, slipping just enough to let Soto Karass miss, before punishing the opening with sharp combinations that snap heads back and force the referee's attention. The ring becomes a small universe of motion and collision, footwork tracing arcs around desperation, power meeting precision in every exchange. Soto Karass's face bears the map of the battle, swelling and marked, yet his feet keep carrying him forward, driven by pride and the refusal to yield quietly. Thurman, sensing the fight slipping beyond recovery for his opponent, begins to turn up the pace. The snap in his punches returning as he smells the finish and understands that this is the moment champions seize, not hesitate. The end arrives not in silence, but in a final storm of violence that feels inevitable, as if the night itself has decided it can carry no more of this struggle. Thurman catches Soto Karass stepping in with a clean right hand, then another, the combinations flowing with ruthless efficiency, forcing Soto Karass backward into the ropes, where the escape routes vanish. A left hand crashes through the guard, a right follows, and the referee steps closer, eyes locked on the wavering figure who still tries to stand tall against the tide. One more sharp combination lands, and the referee moves between them, waving the fight to its conclusion, as the crowd erupts in a mix of awe and respect. The bell of finality rings in the air, and Keith one-time Thurman stands victorious, unbeaten, his arms raised not in arrogance, but in acknowledgement of the war he has survived. Soto Karass, battered but unbroken in spirit, accepts the embrace of his corner, another chapter added to his legacy as a man who never came to the ring to quit. In the aftermath, as the lights continue to burn and the crowd slowly exhales, the story of this night settles into memory, a testament to power guided by intelligence, to courage forged in pain, and to the unforgiving beauty of boxing, where only one man leaves with his hand raised, but both leave having written their names into the echoing halls of the sight game.